as a performer, we are able to go on stage and we're able to actually like go through our own traumas and figure out things while other people are watching, you know? And that's magical because those are true, authentic moments. It's so disheartening because for me as a person who is in this business, who has been fighting for my rights and we're fighting show after show, like, because we know this is the norm, it's like, I don't even feel like there's a point even fighting for it sometimes, you know? Because it's like, if this has been the same, this is how it's been, what is me asking for more gonna do?
I think there are certain plays and musicals that are making it to the Great White Way or into that theater radius because they appeal to white people. They are smeared in blackness with what we see, but the messages and themes beneath it are not supporting the black struggle. I challenge our generation to dissect not just the images we see, but what are the tones, what are the themes beneath it?
When I found out Broadway was called the Great White Way, I was like, wait, what? Y'all just knew that this was a thing? Like, we just, I like was looking at the rest of the black people, I was like, did y'all see what they have on the thing? It say the Great White Way out there. What's going on? Why didn't nobody tell me? They were just like, welcome. Welcome.
We will be better people if we are willing to learn each other with radical care and radical love.
Because of the unrest that was happening in 2020. I was doing what I feel like a lot of black people were doing, which was going back in my head and just reflecting about every single racist moment that has ever happened to me. It was just very surprising to me to realize that like majority of the situations that I think there were like racist moments happen in theater. And when you just look at statistics from Broadway when it comes to how they cast and who they give jobs to, the inequity is just so obvious. Theater is supposed to be all-inclusive, supposed to be for everyone, it's supposed to feel, everyone in it is supposed to feel that they are cared for. But sadly, it's not.
When I was looking at the theater community about the reaction, the response to what was going on in the world at the time, it didn't really seem like there was a lot to be said, and that really hurt me. So I'm on my way right now to talk to some other black artists in the Broadway community about their experiences and just to hear their thoughts about what's going on in our industry and the world.
So, right now,
Okay.
the lovely Nicole is going to show you a graph. Let me take you look at it.
Okay.
And so this graph shows the New York City demographic versus the casting on Broadway.
Right.
How's it make you feel?
Well, not surprised, tell you that much. But I know, like, walking down the streets of Broadway, right? And we see the billboards, we see the sides of the theater, we see all this. I remember walking past a certain show and seeing that, like, literally everyone, like, it was a picture of the principals were on stage, the whole ensemble was on stage, and everyone was white. And I remember walking past that being like, wow, we're still doing that.
It makes me feel like this goes back to the stories that are being chosen. This goes back to the creative teams that are in charge of these stories, right?
Who paying for it? White people? So they wanna pay for something that reflects their experience, I think. I wish I could say I was shocked, but no, of course the numbers don't match up to be a reflection of the actual world that we live in.
I think that, personally speaking, it took me a really long time to come to theater because I wasn't aware that I could do that.
I remember thinking like, oh, I can only be this role, that role, or that role, because that's literally all I would see on television or all I would see in the movies or in ads. It's like, all right, it's only one black guy in this, and so I've got to be really good at doing whatever that one black guy is doing.
Teachers would give, all the black girls, I hate the bus, or it won't be long now, or whatever. And yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess these are the shows that we're gonna be in, okay. But then as I got into the real world and started auditioning for other random things, why can't I be in My Fair Lady? Why can't I sing My Fair Lady song? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And so they don't understand the psychology behind teaching students, young people, our brains are not fully developed yet.
Children.
Yeah, literally children. And so that is a whole mess and a half.
Growing up, for at least myself, and seeing musical theater and seeing the industry, there weren't that many people that I could see and be like, ooh, I want to be just like them. You know what I mean? I want to do that. I'm starting to go back and remember where it all started from. Because I remember growing up and when I was starting to go to school and everything, people would be like, so what's your dream role? What's your dream job? And I couldn't have an answer for that because there aren't that many roles for young black people. You know what I mean? Most of the shows that were for young black people were made in the 60s or something, and they never did them again. There are some now, but it's so seldom when people are even putting those on.
So you were the first black woman to play Regina George and Gretchen Wieners in Mean Girls on Broadway. What was your experience like with that, just knowing that?
That was the best part of it. I was the first person to be put into that show after the original cast. It was very much here is the mold and here you go. Even though in the rehearsal process, they're we want you to be able to play around and to really make it your own. But then when I would sing and it didn't sound like Taylor, it was there's just like a heaviness to your voice. Your mix is not super strong. All of these different things where I'm okay, yeah, I'm not singing a white soprano.
I didn't really understand this, but now I understand it now because it's we were paying so much money for me to take classes, for me to, do this and pursue this. And it was so much money that I realize now it's this career, this field is made for rich people, specifically rich white people, And I was the only black kid. That's really where I started feeling idolized and special because of that.
We are 16 and 17, being told to our faces that our new title was the Token Blacks and we had to be on opposite sides of the stage so that it looked better for the picture. You know what I mean?
But the thing was, because we were already raised or groomed in that way, is that we thought it was okay. We were that's what it's meant to be. I love being the token. I love, because I've been called the token since I was, 11, 12, and it was brought to my attention that I was the only black person, and like that was something to be proud of, and that was something to, be admired and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, by us doing that, and by us supporting it and being on stage with it, it made it seem like it was okay. Now having to reconstruct those thoughts as like an adult is like crazy.
Why do you think tokenism is dangerous?
Ooh, because it takes away from seeing individuals as individuals. It leads to boxing people in as opposed to opening us up to the potential of who we all truly are.
It's another form of whitewashing, I feel like it was, without even us realizing it was. Because we thought it was the way it was supposed to be. You know, we thought we were supposed to want to strive to be like the best black person out of all the black people. Because there's not enough room for all of us to shine. There only could be a couple of black people up there. And also when you look at Broadway, it's like, of course we think that because you think about how many black people have won Tonys. It's either A, the same people, and then there's also just like so few people.
The more that we do it, the more acceptable it becomes for like whiteness to be seen as the bar of professionalism.
I've had to remind myself, like, show up as Aisha. Aisha from College Park, come on in here and be like, what's good, how y'all doing? Like, it's okay. It's okay to just be who you are 100% of the time. That's easier said than done, I think, for any human being, no matter what their race is or where they come from or what they are pursuing in life.
In casting, it's just like, oh, maybe we really need someone like ethnic and edgy, and like you've got like an edgy look. And it's just like, wait, what? Or like at a dance call, they're like, yeah, let's see some of that street, that urban style, like give us some of that hip hop. And it's just like, what? I didn't train hip hop. Oh, just because I'm black, you think I do hip hop? Great. Love hip hop. Like, but that's not my energy. And it's just like, oh, but because I look a certain way, you're expecting me to be a certain thing.
We see these breakdowns that are like seeing all ethnicities, and then the entire cast is white. Why did you see all ethnicities if you didn't intend? And I know sometimes it's like, no, they were actually the better person for the part. Yes, I get that. No shade. Cool, get your check. But like, is that the case every single time?
I think the mistake in theater is that when we say actor or when we say role, it's just assumed it's white. That's just the assumption. Jimmy, who's 30, who owns a hardware store, we assume because of white supremacy in history, he's white. How could, if Jimmy was black, could he really own that? Like we already start programming our minds to think that way. And so I think the writers have to be intentional with the work from day one, saying, I want to make sure that this piece when it goes up is not all white.
What was one of your first impactful experiences of racism within theater?
Well, I hate giving racism the word impactful. But let's see. I don't know, I won't say this is like a first, but doing Frozen is where I really felt it the most. Because a lot of people love that movie, and there is a white redheaded woman as the animation. So seeing this beautiful chocolate woman taking on the role upset a few people. And I remember the first day of rehearsal reading this article that like somebody had said, it was first day of rehearsal for Denver. Somebody had written this article and I was like, what? They were listing all of the black people in the show. And I was like, and they weren't celebrating us. They were mad that we were there. And that broke my little heart. It was like the first week of rehearsal, but I'm still like extremely excited to be here. And I'm like, how dare these random people write this and try to like rain on my parade? Like, one, you haven't even seen me do the role. So like, talk your shit after I do it. Not like now, like give me the opportunity to prove myself. Any other time someone approached me with, oh, your hair shouldn't be this color or Anna can't be black, I was just like, well, I'm black and I'm Anna, so what say you? The check still clears. I am called by God to be filling this role currently. I have purpose in it. I'm here to represent others that look like me. Maybe I'm not here to represent you. Maybe I'm not your Anna, and that's okay. But your words don't discredit my value. They don't discredit my purpose. And I'm here for a reason. This new wave and this new push to be diverse on stage is beautiful, but it often falls into the like ensemble roles or the understudy or the standby. And the people who are actually leading the show aren't people of color.
I'm always proud of my peers who are able to come forward and like, you know, say that this is wrong, stand up against things that have been hard to stand up for. You know, society is messy. And if we're ever gonna do better, I think we have to confront the messiness so that we can progress into an awakened society.
We are on our way right now to Broadway for Racial Justice's protest. It reached the tipping point for everyone. We're just like, no, we need to fix this now. There needs to be a new way of thinking in order for us to like truly all move forward together as a community in theater, because the unrest just like opened everyone's eyes. It's interesting to see like from all aspects, from the students to even the people who have been in the industry, that everyone's just saying things need to change. I hope that people just start listening more after this protest. I hope it continues the conversation of things that need to be done, because that's the only way things are going to get done. If people keep talking about it, they don't make it an afterthought.
All right, let's start. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. All right, so I want to be clear today that this is not an event or a show. This is a protest, okay? I need you to clap your hands to see what rock and roll sounds like. Let me see what rock and roll sounds like. You see, racism permeates to everything it touches. It is the true virus. So it will show up anywhere, in the entertainment industry, in the medical field, in your home. So we are going to unite every community and call down all the strongholds of racism wherever it shows up.
Do not claim our work. Do not separate my art from my being. Do not separate my art from my blackness ever. It is not an accident that this is happening in the world and within our industry. It's not an accident. Outside of your institutions, when you walk out that door, outside of these stage doors, when you walk out that door, we are dying. We are being murdered every single day. So Broadway, this is the weight that is being carried. This is the weight of the artists that walk through your theater stage doors every day as they smile and perform on your stages 8 times a week and sacrifice their bodies and their voices for an audience that does not look like them.
Why are you here today? I am here to march for equality in the Broadway community. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to fight.
I'm here today because the systematic racism but really systematic racism within a place that's supposed to be for everyone. It's supposed to be open. It's supposed to be all these different facets of life. And yet I'm sitting there going into these auditions, you know, in callbacks with one other black person, or going in for a role specifically because it's been made by a white person for me, for a person who looks like me, to say these lines and do these things.
I think if more people step up, and like they were saying, if we all come together and do it together, we can get shit done, but we do need everybody.
This is who we are. We are a community. And I am only asking you to be who you say you are. You say you're a community. You say we are family. Now come on, be about it. Let's go. Let's do it.
The Broadway community unites in protest for racial justice and equity. They're calling for equal opportunities throughout the entertainment industry, not just on stage.
And they all require the same thing. Respect, dignity, love, acceptance. And why are you okay with certain people not getting that? We are light workers. Do you hear me? We are light workers, and we are called to something greater than what they have provided for us. Each of you here today have felt a pull, a calling. You're here for one reason or another, and everyone is on a different journey.
This is just a product of a bigger system. Racism in general is bad, and it's a product of a system that we all exist in that's not working for us. And so to look at theater, like, okay, if we fix the racism in theater, maybe we can use the things that are helpful about theater to help heal the bigger system.
Diversity is a great first step, but there's gonna be no lasting change without like full equity and inclusion.
If we use this time to have a conversation of accountability, a public conversation where we pull each other in a room and we ask questions and we pull up figures and we say, your organization is paying your artistic director millions of dollars. Why is that? If we ask that, they'll be put on the spot and they have to answer it.
If we can get outside organizations to like hold these people accountable instead of the actor who's in a position of like disenfranchisement.
Who has the power in the play or the musical? It's not just that the person's on stage and that's enough. What is the three-dimensional character behind that role? And what are we saying to all the little kids looking up to that person on stage?
I would love to see stories that aren't about like the suffering or the plight of like the Negro plight, like something that's just like people of color like having dreams and hopes and being fully realized humans and falling in love and making mistakes and not having to like die at the end.
How do we advertise our new shows and our new playwrights and composers so that when they do arrive with their new work that should be there, it's not as much of a risk for the audience? And how do we support that?
We're a creator, we're artists, and as we saw, the people who have the resources or the capital get to make the decisions. And so if we have a little more resources, if we have a little more stake, we can make decisions that are more reflective and more inclusive to the needs of our people.
I'm very fortunate for this whole experience because I see my entire future in this business way differently than I thought a year ago. I think now my mind is kind of switched to what kind of career and what do I want my career to say about me, you know? I want to not only like, yes, sing, dance, and perform and all that stuff, but I also want to inspire with my art. I think every person involved in theater should look and examine themselves and their position and what they've done up to this point, and really just reflect and see, are they a part of the problem or the solution? This is an issue that everyone has to be on the same page about. We need to make sure that Black people feel seen and safe when they show up.
If we're gonna be here, we just need to be protected at least, so that we can continue to create and continue to make things that will inspire the next generation of young Black artists.
So Aisha, do you have faith that things will change in our industry?
Hell yeah.
Why?
Because you got to. Because there is no other choice. Because if I'm going to be in this industry, it has to change.
It's inevitable that things will change. Do I think it could get worse? Yes, but I also think it will get better.
As Whitney would say, show me the receipts, Diane. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say.
There are so many people that have woken up that we can't really go back to what it was like before. During this time, a lot of people in our industry became trailblazers for action and for change. And like once we do get back to work, I think we'll be able to carry that with us like into our workspaces.
Change comes from power. The people that have the power have to have an awareness that the change needs to happen. And if there is no game plan on how that change is going to be achieved, we're not ready.
This says be the change. Be the change. So I have to be that. And the industry will change. And if it doesn't, we will create the one that we need.
Art is a connection to the divine in the way that I understand art. And so in the way that we're choosing to make decisions, I hope that we're making decisions that reflect the most divine and most beautiful parts of the human potential. Decisions that will facilitate environments for artists to connect with the divine so that we can connect with each other and audiences and generations to come.